What's up guys, Kirk Gibson here. Today I'm going to show you how to throw a flick in Ultimate Frisbee. So with the flick, this is probably the most important throw in Ultimate Frisbee. If you want to contribute on an Ultimate Frisbee team anywhere, mastering the flick is probably going to be the most valuable thing you could do to improve your game and help your team win. So the backhand, obviously a throw that everybody knows, but the flick is so super important because defenders and defenses will traditionally mark and try to force players to throw flick because they know generally players are weaker at throwing the flick than the backhand. So your defender, I'm a righty, so generally most players are righties, so the defenders will usually line up on a righty's left shoulder, and in doing so, that prevents that backhand from being an easy throw to get off and really leaving the flick space open. So knowing how to throw this will be really critical and crucial for improving your game and getting on the field. So when we talk about the flick, the first part will be the grip. So the first thing you want to do to get it in the right grip is to take the edge of the Frisbee and put it kind of in the space in between your index finger and thumb, and really think about putting in that groove right here. You can see my index finger moving as I'm really putting it deep into the groove and underneath that knuckle. And what that's going to allow me to do is get the most, the strongest grip on my fingers and on both sides, and really get it in there so it doesn't wobble around too much, okay? So when I look at my fingers here on the inside, my index finger and middle finger right here, and my two outside fingers are here. As you can see, there's really not any space there. It's not like this, or not all fingers. It's two fingers on the inside, and these are there right next to them. And what that does is these are putting pressure this way onto the outside edge of the Frisbee, and these are putting a little pressure that way so that it can rest nicely and not move around too much, okay? So the thumb on this side is generally gonna be right here. As you can see, the thumb is right around the red line right here. And so, you know, just whatever's comfortable. Some people might be a little more comfortable like this or over here, but mine's pretty much perpendicular to the outside edge of the Frisbee, okay? So another reason why this grip is really important is that when you move the disc over like this, you'll see that it kind of falls a little bit outside of my thumb. And if you remember, my thumb was up here past the red line. Now it's about an inch or a little bit more than an inch away from that. And so that's why you really want to keep the disc like this. When you're holding it upside down, this is actually really comfortable and exactly how you'd want to release the disc. That's going to give you the most power and strength to be able to throw any type of throw if you keep it like this. And the way that you do that is similar to the backhand, is when you're here, positioned to throw the flick, use your opposite hand to hold it here in place instead of just keeping it out here. Because when you keep it out here, it's a little bit loose, and this is a really hard throw to have any type of accuracy on. So when you're positioned like this, use that opposite hand, similar to the backhand, to hold it in place until you're ready to throw. Now we'll talk about the positioning. So to just throw a normal everyday flick, my feet are probably a little bit more than shoulder width apart, but whatever's comfortable. So I can do two things. Your pivot foot as a righty will be your left foot, so you can either take a little bit of a step out and lean over, or step a little bit forward between 30 and 45 degrees. That'll give you a little bit of a power and start that motion to get the Frisbee going. The other reason why I mentioned the lean is important because as you get over to throw the Frisbee, which we'll talk about in a second, you're gonna wanna get a little bit inside out because that'll help the Frisbee throw straight. Get to the release. So now we've got the grip. We take a little bit of a step either forward to the side. We bring our arm back, we release from our opposite hand, get our shoulder back, and start twisting our torso. And as we do that, we'll bring our elbow through, and then the follow through is going to be the snap with the wrist. Now, this is where the flick becomes really, really important. The directions here become really important because a lot of new players, when they throw the flick, you'll find that if you find anybody on the street and you ask them to throw a flick, it'll probably just flutter down like that, going outside edge, inside down, okay? In order to prevent that, two things. One, when you're coming through, that lean is going to be important because when you bring that elbow through, you're gonna wanna have that outside edge down. The outside edge because it's farther away from my body. This is the inside edge because it's closer. You're gonna wanna have that outside edge down because then when you release it, the disc will naturally start to flatten out and also cut out some of the natural motion, especially for new players, that forces the disc to come over. So when you get that outside edge down and then get to the release, the last thing you're gonna wanna make sure to do is to, when you release that, do not pronate over your forearm and wrist. A lot of players will do that, similar to like a tennis motion, or sometimes even a sidearm baseball. You'll kind of come over like this. But when you throw this, think of kind of like a Spider-Man, where you're coming through, you're kind of shooting out web like that, and also your palm is up. Your forearm and palm are up. They're not like this. If you end up turning like this, the disc is gonna come like this and float over and not fly flat. So when you're throwing it, you essentially want to come here, bring the elbow through and get the release, and then you've got your forearm and hand up, and that's going to give you the best chance to throw a great flick. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you can use these tips to help improve your flick.